my official ranking of the Jurassic Park franchise, including the most recent entry, Jurassic World Dominion. Before I get into that, though, some information you need to know. I'm going to talk about spoilers, especially for the newest film, because I really can't talk about that film unless I talk about spoilers, so know that ahead of time. I'm not the biggest fan of this franchise. I watch them casually, so if I don't remember a character name or if I don't remember a specific dinosaur that they showed, that is why, so don't beat me up too bad. Keep in mind, this is going to be my list, so we are going to disagree. Know that ahead of time. Just make sure that you leave your list in the comment section. And obviously, I recently rewatched all these previous films leading up into Jurassic World Dominion. And I should let you know that for Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park Lost World, I wasn't able to make it through those two films without dozing off. I'm not really sure why that happened, especially for the first one, but that's what happened. And so that might reflect in my rankings. And this ranking could change because I feel like 5 through 3 are somewhat interchangeable. Depending on a rewatch, I might like a film better. And even number 6. I actually enjoyed number 6 a lot more than I remember. So, without further ado, I'm going to get into my ranking. And remember, we're probably going to disagree. And I'm going to talk about spoilers, especially for the newest film, Jurassic World Dominion. So, just so you know. Let's start the list off with my number 6, and for this one, I chose Jurassic Park 3. Now, I don't mind this movie. In fact, I believe I've seen the movie now 3 times. I actually saw it in the theater. I saw it once on, I don't remember when, like 5 years ago after that, and then I just rewatched it, and I actually enjoyed it. Now, there's some things I don't like about this movie. Obviously, it's my number 6. I am not a fan of Téa Leoni at all, but in this movie, she didn't annoy me as much as she usually does. I don't know why that is. I just can't stand her. And I think it was a rescue movie, and I think it worked well. The problem with this movie was I feel like some things weren't really ironed out, and there were some production issues that changed some things. And of course, Alan Grant returns, which is awesome, but he has like a dream sequence where dinosaurs are talking to him, which really, I think, makes the movie a little bit ridiculous as a whole. But for the most part, I do enjoy this movie, and I'm actually kind of surprised that I'm putting it at number 6, but there's some things about it that just don't necessarily make sense. And the movie seems to end all of a sudden. I will say that I love the use of the cell phone in this movie. You know, that phone, that satellite phone. You know the dinosaur is coming if you hear that cell phone because he ate up the guy, or it turns out to be the dinosaur's shit at one point. But I did like some elements of this movie. Alan Grant returning, unfortunately, doesn't save it from finishing in this place. And I think Eric was an okay character in the movie, but I think it could have been a lot more if they chose to do that, which maybe due to the fact that there was production issues made that impossible. So that's why Jurassic Park 3 comes in at number 6. Number 5, again, this is a hard choice because I feel like 5 through 3 could be interchangeable. At the moment, I'm going to pick Jurassic Park The Lost World. One reason why is because I tried to watch it recently and I couldn't make it through it. I've seen this movie 2 other times. I watched it when it first came out on VHS, and then I watched it another time like within the past 10 years. I've never been a really big fan of this movie. I'm not really sure why. I think maybe some of it has to do with Julianne Moore. I'm not a fan of her at all. Again, I don't really have a rhyme or reason behind that. I'm just not a fan. It happens. But I like some elements of this movie. I like the whole relationship between Jeff Goldblum's character, Ian Malcolm, and the girl. And that was good stuff. Now, since I rewatched it recently, I missed a lot of stuff with the mercenary guys. Especially the one guy that's, again, since I'm not the hugest fan of this movie, I don't remember all the character names, especially these characters that are only in one movie. The guy that's in the town, spoiler alert, that Ben Affleck's character shoots his balls or clips his nuts. He's dead now, but I thought he was really good from what I remember. But again, I dozed off and missed like the middle-ish movie or the middle-ish part of the movie. And I think that would have helped me a lot going into this. But I didn't go back and rewatch it because I just didn't have the time. But as it stands right now, Jurassic Park The Lost World is my number 2. And I actually thought about putting this at number 6, but I feel like the Jeff Goldblum and his daughter, I think it was his daughter, their dynamic was really good, and it was suspenseful as how that worked out. So that's my number 5. My number 4, I'm going to put the newest entry in this series, Jurassic World Dominion. And I thought about putting this number 6, actually. There are some things I do not like about this movie. For one, this does not at all seem like a Jurassic Park movie or Jurassic World movie. It seems like either a James Bond movie at times or like a Mission Impossible movie at times with like these ridiculous things. And there's really no suspense in this movie because, spoiler alert, none of our characters die except for like the villain. But they have this big group of like this Avengers Endgame kind of thing. And like, Alan Grant survives, Ian Malcolm survives, Owen survives, Claire survives, Kayla survives, Ellie survives, Dr. Wu survives, which was surprising because I thought he was kind of a villain, but he's really not. He was just the scientist behind stuff. Ramsey survives, and I actually liked his character a lot. But it just, I don't know. This movie I just wasn't really interested in because it didn't seem like a Jurassic Park movie, even though I'm not the biggest fan of these movies. I just think it was good things about it. I'm going to be all over with this one. I like that characters, especially our OG3, well, our main OG3. I don't count Wu as an OG because he's barely featured in the movies. But Alan Grant, Ian Malcolm, and Ellie Sattler, they get their time. And then, of course, Owen, Claire, and Macy get their time, sprinkled in with the other characters that they introduce in this film, like Kayla, Ramsey. They do a good job. I didn't think that Jeff Goldblum and what's the actor's name that plays Dr. Grant? I'm drawing a blank, and I should know this. Well, it's irrelevant. I didn't think that they would have that big of a role in this movie, and Jeff Goldblum didn't necessarily have the biggest role, but he had a role. But Dr. Grant's character was actually featured quite a bit, Alan Grant, so I was happy about that. It just didn't seem like it seemed like a Mission Impossible or James Bond movie that had dinosaurs in it. Now, I will say, other than the fact that, spoiler alert, nobody dies, which I thought at the part where Ian Malcolm's holding that torch and he throws it in the dinosaur's mouth, I thought he was a goner at that point in time. They should have killed somebody off, and I think Ian would have been a character they could have done that with, but they didn't do anything crazy, and I didn't like that. I'm like, wow, there's really no point this movie. I'm not really emotionally invested in this because I already know that all these characters that they have in this movie are going to survive. I did like the introduction of Kayla Watts in this movie. I think she was really good. She didn't have as much time as the other people did, but she certainly made an impression, and maybe they'd make another one with the newer characters instead of her. They do show the other characters from the previous movie, the guy that screams a lot, and then the doctor chick, but they weren't featured enough to really talk much about them. However, the ending of this movie, I did like the fact that, spoiler alert, Dr. Grant does decide that he wants to stay with Ellie, and he does kiss her because she has broken up with her husband. So that was touching, but I don't know. I didn't really like this movie that much. I felt like I wasted my time going to see it in the theater, but upon a rewatch, I might think different on this film. So that's why I chose to put Jurassic World Dominion as my number 4. My number 3 is going to be Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. Again, all these are kind of interchangeable so far. I enjoyed this movie, and like I said, I recently rewatched it and was pretty into it. It's a little different. I would rather have everything take place on the island or at Jurassic Park rather than them eventually get onto the mainland and be one with us and be where we are. The movie has some touching moments in it, especially when they're leaving the island and the island's blowing up and the brontosaurus is dying but doesn't know what to do, and that's one of the most touching moments in this entire franchise. So that's good. I think Claire's character in this is featured pretty well in this, and of course Owen is featured pretty good in it. we get introduced to Macy. I don't necessarily like her character all that much. I don't know. And I guess I should say in the last movie, the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Dominion, we have Henry Wu, who turns out to just be, a scientist. That's all he's really there for. He was kind of set up to be like something more than that through these movies, I think. And he really led to nothing other than the fact that he wants to study and, he cures like the things that are wrong. But anyway, enough about that. This movie, it's okay. I don't hate it. It's watchable to me. I know a lot of people criticize this movie and put it towards the bottom. If it's not 6, it's number 5. And I actually enjoyed it upon my most recent viewing of it. I had seen it one other time, I believe, previous to that, and that was in the theater. And so far, I'm good on it. I was a little mad that Ian Malcolm is really not featured all that much in the movie. He's just in like the Senate scenes or the courtroom scenes, I guess I should say. But it works. It's touching. It's got some heart to it, and that's why I put Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom as my number 3. Now, here's where a lot of us are going to disagree. You're going to hate my decision for this, but my number 2 is actually the OG Jurassic Park. I've seen this movie probably 5 times. I'm not, again, the hugest fan of the series, but I like a lot of elements for this. I think that this is definitely a horror movie. It's very horror centric. They have a pretty decent cast, with people like Samuel L. Jackson and Wayne Knight are in it, amongst all the other people. And it's a good movie. I just find to me it kind of ends suddenly, and there's just one more movie that I really like more than this. I like, obviously, that Alan Grant is your main person. You have the 2 kids, which I'm a little upset. Well, I'll get into that in my next one. The 2 kids come back for Jurassic World or Jurassic Park: The Lost World, but they're barely in it, and I would have preferred them to have more scenes. It just, I don't know. I just don't really have a huge reason why I put this number 2, other than the fact that maybe because I kind of dozed off and just twice that it has to go lower on the list. So that's why I put the OG Jurassic Park as my number 2, and by process of elimination. You already know what my number 1 is, which, surprisingly enough, when this movie initially came out in theaters and it was doing so good, I was a very big critic of the fact that fuck the Jurassic Park franchise, fuck Jurassic World. These movies are gonna suck. That's what before seeing it, that's what I was saying. I did go see it in the theater probably like 6 weeks after it came out, which usually I go see a movie opening night. I'm talking about Jurassic World, of course. And I thought it was okay. I do believe I haven't watched it since my recent rewatch about a week and a half ago, and I absolutely loved this movie. The main dinosaur villain in this movie, the Indominus Rex, was awesome. I like the whole part with the 2 kids, which I don't remember their name. Their mom and dad are going through a divorce, and so they send the kids to Jurassic World so their aunt Claire can look after them, which she really doesn't look after them. Her assistant was done so wrong in this movie, but I really liked mainly Chris Pratt in this movie, Owen. He was awesome, and maybe it's because I've become a big Chris Pratt fan since seeing, I'm not going to say Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not a big fan of that movie. I like it, but I'm a big fan of Passengers and The Tomorrow War, 2 movies that are my top 10 of all time, yes. And I just really liked the Jurassic World. It's a little far-fetched. Obviously, all these movies are, with him, riding with the Raptors, with Blue and Blue's running mates, I guess. Again, I don't remember all the names of everything, so I apologize for not being an expert on this franchise. But upon most recent rewatch, I actually really liked a lot Jurassic World. Surprisingly, I was really into it, and that's why I had to put this as my number 1, simply because I was so into it. I was really excited to watch the next Jurassic World movie, and I didn't feel that after watching Jurassic Park or Jurassic Park: The Lost World or Jurassic Park 3. So that's why I put Jurassic World as my number 1. Again, this list could change depending on if I rewatch these again. I might have a different opinion. Maybe I'll like the new one a lot more. We shall see. So there's my ranking again. I'm not the biggest fan of this franchise. I'm a casual fan. I'm just giving you guys a ranking because you guys like when I rank things. And obviously, I know we're going to disagree. All of you are going to put Jurassic Park as your number one, and I'm going to get canceled. Well, if you have to cancel me, do it, because that's my opinion. And I, at the moment, am sticking to it. So what you need to do, obviously, since I'm done talking and explaining my logic for my choices, make sure you smash that like button, especially if you like a lot of their content on JDev TV, or if you just want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are, your ranking of this franchise, and any other tidbits that you'd like to add. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel. You're watching the video anyway. Join the damn team, or join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.